What's up, MetHeads? Welcome to the second video in the Integrated Data Viewer series. In the previous video, we briefly introduced the IDV, walked through the installation process, and installed some plugins. In this video, we are going to introduce bundles and learn how to use the IDV. So a bundle is a file that saves the current state of IDV in an XML file. These types of files will end in a .xidv or a .zidv. The zidv is a zipped file, which pretty much has the data zipped into the bundle. So that way you can open these bundles and use the IDV if you are offline. And I just want to mention one thing. What's nice about the IDV is if you click help in user's guide, it pretty much pulls up a large guide that has a lot of really good information about installation, using the IDV, all the stuff that I will also go over in this series. You will most likely be able to find in this user's guide. So that's just one little side note I wanted to mention before we move on. So on the left window, we have the dashboard, and on the right window, we have a map view. The dashboard is where you create and edit displays, and the map view is where you view displays. So we're going to go ahead and open a bundle that I had previously saved before. Actually, first, I'll just go over these tabs really briefly before we do that. The quick links is what it sounds like. It's quick links to accessing your favorite bundles, your favorite data sources, templates, the history of what you've been working on, like data sources and bundles, and a tab to create new windows. But the main three that we are going to be focusing on today is the Data Choosers tab, the Field Selector tab, and the Displays tab. The Data Choosers tab is where you upload data. The Files button right here is what data you have on your computer stored locally. And when you click on data source type, you can see all of the different data files that it accepts, which is pretty nice. The field selector is where you select the parameters you want to plot and how you want to display these parameters. What's really nice is that once you go into this field, again, we'll see what it looks like once we have a bundle actually loaded, or at least a data file actually loaded. You'll see the parameters here, and it'll automatically filter based off what parameters you choose. It will automatically filter what types of displays you can use here in this displays. And lastly, this little displays tab is where after here you create your display, and that display will pop up here in your displays tab in this column right here under the views, and it will also pop up here on your map view under legend. And this tab is where you will essentially edit your displays. Okay, so before we start working with bundles, we are going to familiarize ourselves with the three tabs that we use to create and edit displays by creating a simple display. So first we're going to need some data. This is what it'll look like when you first open up the Data Choosers tab. You'll see that it is looking at the downloads of your local machine. And if you click on this tab up here, you can see all of the files that the IDV will accept. I want to look for just the netcdf files. And so I'll go down here to File Types and click on Gridded Files, where it'll show all the files that are under that category. I had previously downloaded a dataset from the Copernicus Climate Data Store. Here we can take a glimpse at it. I'm specifically using the ERA 5 hourly data on pressure levels from 1940 to present, and I choose the reanalysis product type. You can choose any variable that you want at any pressure level, year, month, day, time, and geographical region. The IDV will accept both GRIB and NetCDF files, but I choose the NetCDF files. So the data that I had chosen was for a Kona low that occurred on December 21st, December 2021. And it was a Kona low that cut off from the jet stream, developed into a pretty strong Kona storm that brought a lot of rain and really damaging floods to the islands of Hawaii. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click add source. And you'll see here under fields that we have 2D grids and 3D grids that we can plot. If you click on both, you see that there is derived, and under 3D grid, there is these boxes of variables. These are the variables that were downloaded inside the December 2021 konalo.nc file. These are the variables that I downloaded from the Climate Data Store. And what's really cool about the IDV is that just based off these variables that I downloaded, it can derive a bunch more parameters based off these alone. So for the 2D grid, we see that it can derive some thicknesses of pressure levels. And for the 3D grid, we see that there are a lot of parameters that it is able to derive just from these variables. So we're going to go ahead and we'll explore those in another video, but for now we're just going to go ahead and choose something simple such as temperature. And so since I've chosen my temperature variable, it is now going to filter through all the potential displays that I can make with temperature. We have plan views, which are typically 2D plots, and we can see vertical cross sections, which will probably give you a transect that you will be able to move around and choose where you want your cross section to be. We can plot 3D surfaces, such as we see here, like a color-filled contours over topography. We can create an isosurface. We can create an isosurface colored by another parameter. Lots of options, but we'll do something simple and we will look at a color shaded plan view. And here in this column underneath displays, we can see all the time steps that are included in the data set that I had uploaded and the levels of data. And when I downloaded this data, I only wanted to see the upper level, mid-level, and lower level of the troposphere, and that's why we are seeing 250, 500, and 1,000 millibars. If I had downloaded all the all the pressure levels, then from here, then we would see all these inside the IDV, but I had only chosen the 3 pressure levels. So let's go ahead and create a display. I'm going to go ahead and choose 1,000 millibars so we can look at temperature near the surface. And so once you click create display, you see that it pops up here under legend and over here on your dashboard under the views. We can toggle it on and off by clicking these little check boxes here. As you can see here, this is the maps for the outline for the continents. And we'll go ahead and click that back on. The basic functions over here is that you can edit your color table. You can change the range of your color table. It's always set to the default here. And you can change the transparency of it. If I want a more transparent view, I can go up to, I don't know, 70%. And what's nice about that is that we can now see, it's a bit low. So let's change that back up to, oops. Let's change that back up to maybe 30%. And you can see the contours of the US underneath this plan view of temperature, which is really helpful. Okay, so now that we have learned how to create a simple display, we will go over briefly on how to save it as a bundle. So that way, if we want to pull this back up in the future after closing the IDV, we don't have to go through and click a data click a data source, pick the field selectors and change the display. It'll change it as the current state it is in. And in order to do that, we can click on either File and Save As, or we can click this little floppy disk this floppy disk icon right here where it says Save Bundle. And it can give you options on where to save it. You can save it to your downloads if you would like, or you can put it into wherever you want. Go ahead and make sure all these boxes are saved for views, display, and data sources. That allows you to pull the bundle back up and have it where you saved it as. If you don't save the data sources, you'll still have access for the displays, but you won't have data. So it won't really be showing any data until you pick a data source. So I just go ahead and click all three unless you just kind of want the bundle as a template, then you can go ahead and unclick data sources. But yeah, and you can name the bundle whatever you want. Just make sure that it ends in the .xidv. And for example, we can call this 1000 millibar temp. And types of file, it's already chosen for the IDV bundles. If you wanted to do a zipped one, you can click that if you wanted to. If you are planning to open up the bundle offline, again, you may want to do the zipped IDV bundle so it can download the data into a zipped file with the bundle. And we'll go ahead and click save. And yeah, that's about it. And so if we want to clear off what we're looking at right now, these icons up here, the eraser will remove all the displays, and the scissors will remove all displays and data sources. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And as you can see, we have in the field selector, we have no data sources selected, and the displays are all gone. We are pretty much looking at where we started before we created our display. In order to open the bundle, we can go over to File, Open, and look for that bundle that we were just using. And so we can we can search for that. Oh, here it is right here, 1000 millibar temp. And click on that, click Open. It'll ask if you want to choose these options. I typically just do the remove all displays. So any current displays and data that you have showing at the time, it will remove it all in order to display and upload the bundle that you want. And yep, we don't need to worry about changing data paths, and we don't really need to worry about matching the display region. So you just go ahead and click OK. It'll load, and bam! This was the bundle that we had originally created, and we just reopened it. All right, so that concludes the second video of the IDV series. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.